My name is Allie Stein. Throughout my semester at Texas A&M University completing my master's degree in curriculum and instruction, I have been taking a course on action research. Today I will be presenting to you my information that I have gathered and learned from this course and my action research. The topic that I have chosen to research throughout this semester is response to intervention, also known as RTI in the world of education. This is a very important topic to me personally because of my positionality. When I was in third grade, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. Because of this learning disability, I faced academic challenges throughout my entire academic career thus far. I strongly believe that if I was able to receive response to intervention from my teachers growing up, I would have been more successful in my own academics and struggled less. Throughout my research, I also had to keep in mind that I am a white female kindergarten educator. I'm a very organized teacher and sometimes show tendencies of OCD in my classroom. I have been at the same school since my student teaching in 2012. I've been teaching kindergarten, first grade, and second grade on my campus. Because of this, I am not very familiar with other school settings and have never worked in a Title I or lower socioeconomic school setting. There is cultural diversity within my school building. However, my school is located in a very well-off neighborhood with very few apartment buildings located in our area. My current classroom consists of students who are majority Middle Eastern. I also have 2 black students, a few students who come from Hispanic cultures, and a few white students as well. The population of our teachers on our campus are 100% white females. With my personal positionality, I have really tried to widen my vision and explore more things within RTI and not be so biased on my opinions. The nature of the problem that I see in response to intervention, or RTI, for academics is the challenge that comes with implementing proper and useful interventions with struggling students on a daily basis. I have set out to learn more about response to intervention and have found that most authors have similar experiences and that the framework for RTI is similarly laid out for academics. Response to intervention provides students with early intervention, usually completed in small groups for assistance in catching up to their grade level peers. This intervention is completed in a tier phase, with daily intervention time increasing with the higher tier level. There are 3 tiers in RTI. All general education students begin at Tier 1, and then are moved to Tier 2 as needed for academic intervention and support. If data does not show progress, the student will then be moved to Tier 3 and require more daily interventions. This process is in place to help catch students who are falling behind in their academic success prior to testing for special education services. Throughout my literature review and my action research, I have learned more about timing or framing of scheduling of RTI, the importance and research of RTI, the importance of data collection and what data to collect. I have also learned the importance of RTI for English language learners and their families as well. Edward S. Shapiro wrote his Response to Intervention, Theory to Practice in 2011. Using this theory as a lens for my research, I am able to focus on the value and critical need for response to intervention. In order for our students to gain the most out of RTI, schools need to have all hands on deck and not just focus on instruction provided by the teacher to support struggling students. RTI is a school-wide approach that provides students the opportunity to improve their understanding and academic success by having support given to them by their teachers, support staff, parents, and administration. It is a team effort. This lens allows me to focus my research on gathering more data to see strategies being used for RTI, as well as set goals for myself to assist students in my classroom who are Tier 2 and or Tier 3 students. Because RTI is a team effort, it is also important to meet with your professional learning community, or PLC. At my school specifically, our PLC meetings consist of grade level teachers, administration, literacy specialist, and our math specialist. The methods that I have chosen to use for my action research on RTI included qualitative research, I used teacher and student surveys, interviews with RTI teachers, and observations in a kindergarten classroom all the way up through a 5th grade classroom. The most valuable part of my research was my observations. It was very interesting to see how different teachers incorporated their RTI throughout the day. Another valuable part of my observations was to see what teachers used different classroom management strategies and what classroom management strategies worked for each teacher and classroom. My student survey consisted of 5 different questions. The questions were: do you like RTI? Do you feel like you are grasping your learning concepts easier with the help of interventions? What interventions do you like the best? What interventions do you like the least? And lastly, what do you think we could do to help you master your learning concepts easier during intervention time? Based on my student surveys and observations, the results seem to vary based on the age or grade group. I have noticed that the younger students seem to not mind RTI and do feel like it is helpful, but then as the students get older, they tend to struggle with embarrassment or self-discouragement. One finding was that students of all grades really seem to enjoy learning through games and fun activities. They feel like this is the most helpful intervention. After these surveys, I have personally tried to incorporate as many games into my interventions as I can for my own RTI groups. My teacher survey consisted of only 4 questions. The first one was, do you feel like your students benefit from RTI? Then I also asked, how do you keep other students from disrupting your intervention group? What forms of intervention have you found to be the most beneficial? And what do you feel like you could do to improve your own intervention strategies? From my teacher surveys and observations, I learned that most grade levels at my school complete their RTI in a similar style. Many teachers like to teach in small group and incorporate their RTI group during small group rotations. They tend to have the rest of their students relatively busy and occupied while still working on something geared towards their academics and learning standards. What seems to be the biggest struggle for me is also the biggest struggle for my colleagues as well, and that is making sure that the students are focused and not interrupted by other peers in their class. After my observations, I have noticed that our 4th grade team incorporates target time, which helps personalize learning for each student and allows not only RTI groups to meet together, but different leveled groups as well. My actionable findings from my research that I am taking away from this assignment include more ideas on what I can do to incorporate more interventions into my classroom and RTI groups. I have also been made more aware of the importance with RTI for English language learners, as well as the importance of gaining parent support to best fulfill the intent of RTI successfully. This research has impacted my personal practices in my classroom by giving me more ideas on what RTI works best and what students like the best. After completing my observations, surveys, and research, I am now more knowledgeable on the RTI process being successful and plan to use more games for learning with my kindergarten students and RTI groups. I also plan to implement and learn more about target time from my 4th grade teachers on my campus. Now realizing the importance of parent support, I will try harder to gain more parent support, especially for my ELL students who are in the RTI process. I feel like this research has opened my eyes and made me a better educator for my students and has given me ideas on what I can do to help them become more successful with their academics. With the world of education rapidly changing and the push for a more personalized learning approach for students and the incorporation of technology in the classroom, I feel like my research will be continuing as education continues to evolve and change as well. I think it is important for me to readjust my methods of RTI in my classroom each year based on my own students' needs. Therefore, the importance of building relationships with my students at the beginning of the year is going to be a crucial factor. As I reflect back on my research throughout the semester, I am very pleasantly surprised. I have never imagined myself as an educator-researcher. I did not plan on ever using my research training since I had not intended to complete any researches. However, since this research was on a topic that I am passionate about and have a deep interest in learning more about, I have found my research to be very educating and rewarding to myself and my students in my classroom. I have learned a lot about myself both as an educator and as a researcher. I do feel like I am still learning how to be a researcher and have a long way to go before I truly feel comfortable with my own research, but I have begun the process of stepping out of my comfort zone to learn more about topics that I have a desire to learn more about.